Hello everybody, today I have another review video, and today's review video is on my own character, who doesn't really have a name, so I decided to give him the name Unknown Warrior since he doesn't have a name. And as you can see, he turns into multiple vehicles, all of them being slightly military or construction related. Anyways, starting from front to back, here's our first vehicle. This one is like a little mining excavator with a nice posable bucket. It's got 4 points of articulation. 5 if you technically count this little bit. Actually 6 if you count this little rotating one. As you can see, he's got a little cockpit right there. Treads, they actually roll. This has to be my favorite part of the little mining excavator. But actually, if I remove the tires, you notice that they're actually a little warped, so they don't really roll all that well. Like, it kind of doesn't like to roll very well. And also a theme you probably noticed is that they're all mostly like brownish red. Coming into the next vehicle, this one might not be as easy to recognize, but it's supposed to be like a almost like bullet train type thing. It's supposed to be like a passenger train. It's very messy, and you can probably tell what it turns into. I ended up designing all the other guys first, and this one I kind of just threw together because I just needed something here as the legs bit that turns into the legs. The next one has got to be my favorite one. This one is a missile launcher, as you can see. It's got 3 little missiles on it. Now, when designing this, I didn't know, like, obviously this is the body, but when designing this, I didn't know what to make this. Because originally I was going to go for, like, some sort of, like, spaceship or something. And it was going to end up looking, like, really bad. But then I ended up moving the arms in this position, and it looked so much like a missile launcher. So now I was like, well, I'll just turn it into a missile launcher. And as you can see, it's got little tires right here, and a little like stand or like a hitch or something. And I don't know, I really like how I designed this one. Now the fourth and last vehicle I have to show you is this cute little tank. Now, as you can see, this tank doesn't actually have like any proper treads. That's because due to the transformation, I require these bits to look like this. Now, if you were to use your imagination, you could think of these as treads or something. It doesn't really look much like a tank, except for the long barrel. And also at the end of this, it's got like this little removable flame piece that you could take off, and it looks a little more like a tank that way. But I just leave it on. Now, one thing you might have already noticed is that, well, in order to transform these guys, you kind of need a parts form a little. Now, in most situations, I would not be a big fan of this, but the way that the parts forming is done, I do like it. It's almost like a Power Rangers type transformation where it's a bunch of separate vehicles and then it comes into one big robot. So coming into transformation, we take the bullet train here. So basically what we want to do is first come to the middle right here and fold this bit up like that. It's basically facing the opposite way. Next, what we want to do is fold these bits of the train downward and fold these bits up. As you see, we start to form the legs. Next, we want to rotate the train on the sides like that. And now, as you can see, it's kind of like a worn down, damaged look. Like you can see, like it's not consistent. Like you'd see little bits of brown and like brighter red. It's because I basically want like a more worn down design. So to get it more worn down or withered looking, I like to put this bit on a little bit of a tilt. And what we're going to want to do is come to the sides of the legs fold it up like that, so it starts to form like more of a shape, like more of a consistent shape. Then on this side, we're only going to fold it so much so it looks like this side is like broken. Then last, we fold up the ends of the train, which will form basically like shoes almost for him. And here we have the legs done. Next up for transformation, we have the tank, or the missile launcher, sorry. So in order to transform it, this one's pretty simple. What we have to do is pull this bit out, fold it down, then we pull this to the side, rotate this around like this, then basically put it down alongside. Then come to the back, rotate this, and fold it up. And then we basically just take this socket onto this little ball joint. There we have the body done.
Tomorrow.
Coming into the head, we're going to take the little mining excavator. Basically what we're going to want to do, fold this back, then we fold this inward. Actually no, put it around like that because we transformed it wrong, and then fold it down like this. Make sure you transform your transformers right, guys. It's basically just gonna stay like that. You can fold it up to the side like that a little or something. Then we're gonna want to rotate the cockpit forward like that, and then basically drop it down on the body. Now, although he looks really nice here, and we've basically finished the transformation, we're actually not done yet. We still have to transform his accessories, which we'll be getting into right now. So coming into accessories, we have the little tank thing that you saw earlier. Now this guy doesn't actually become part of the robot, but instead you split it in half like this, and then as you can see, we have a shield, a sword, and a shield. But the shield needs to be folded up like that. And here we have the shield, and for the sword, well, basically leave it like that, or you can remove the flame piece, which I'm just gonna remove it because I don't know. Here we have the sword and the shield done. In order to give Unknown Warrior his weapons, first what we want to do is bring this arm forward like this, and bringing this anti-stud onto this stud right here, we just simply connect it together. There we have his shield. And then for his sword, we're going to take his other arm, this stud into that anti-stud. There we have his sword. Actually, although the sword looks fairly nice here, we can actually add the flame bit on the back to make it look a little bit cooler looking almost. And here we have Unknown Warrior in his complete robot mode. Now, Unknown Warrior is a very poseable figure. As you can see, I got him into this quite battle stance looking pose, and basically any pose you put him in, he'll look pretty good if you put him in that pose. Unless if that pose looks like this. So coming in for a closer look, first thing you'll see is that he's got this weird little badge on his chest. Now, basically the story behind it. So basically, I'll give a story about it, but so a long time ago, there were these special type of Transformers called the Mecha Guardians, and they were basically built to like guard or protect certain things. And certain Mecha Guardians would have the special badge, which would basically mean that they're like super strong, basically. I don't know, I'll explain more in other videos, But yeah, so he's like one of those more special Mecha Guardians. And also he is the leader of the Mecha Guardians. So that's a fact. I'll talk more about my Mecha Guardians in other videos. Anyways, so as you can see, he's very, like, his paintwork is very patchy. Like there's like some bits of red, some mostly dark maroon red, and even some spots where it's like dark brown. What I would like to think is that, like, when I gave him the name Unknown Warrior, I would like to think of him as like basically like lost to time and like forgotten about, and then eventually he gets like found again, and he's in this really worn down and not good shape. Like, as you can see, the badge is like slightly off center, and everything is just like starting to rust. But I'm hoping to kind of maybe build like a more up, like a newer version of him, like what he would look like if he was a bit newer, like more brighter red and all that stuff. Another thing I forgot to say about his weapons is that you could actually combine them into more of a super weapon. So first what you want to do is take the shield, fold these bits down like that, so it looks kind of like this. Do the same thing on the other side. There we have the first half. Next we want to take the gun sword piece, and then we just want to basically plug it back on, make sure it's facing downward like this. So there we have his second weapon mode, and in order to attach it, you attach it the same way as you would the shield, and we basically end up with this cool kind of arm cannon, kind of similar to Megatron almost. For a bit of a size comparison, here we have Earthrise Prime. As you can see, these little Mecha Guardian guys are a lot smaller than normal Transformers. That's actually a certain detail that I want with my Mecha Guardians. I want them to be in scale with my normal Transformers. And here we have another original character of mine. I will talk about him in a later video, but he's a little bit bigger than him. Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And also, if you want to see a review of this guy, please comment Autobot in the comments, please. Just right there, just type out Autobot. And yeah. And I hope you've enjoyed, and until the next video, bye.